Raj, it's a pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you.
It's a great topic, the future of transportation. We are living in some great times. A lot of innovative technologies emerging. But the topic for this session is the future of transportation.
Right.
And how we're going to see the changes right in front of our eyes, starting with driverless cars.
Indeed.
You were just mentioning to me earlier that the curiosity of people is, okay, driverless cars sounds very interesting and it's been tested a few times. But safety, security, these are some of the concerns for people. So I just wanted to get your take on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. It's an incredibly exciting time that we're living in right now. I like to joke that if I'd been investing in transportation a few years ago, it would have been pretty boring. But today it's incredible, and it's been driven very much by people like Uber and Lyft, but also Airbnb. And I think what's happening today is that the technology is approaching the point now where we can release it into the wild. The issues are that it's not quite ready. So obviously, as a company in this space, you would absolutely want to ensure that security and safety are number one. There should be no question that whatever you do is better than a human being. And we can't really assure ourselves of that today. The other thing that we have to think about is that anything that happens in transportation tends to take a long time. The reason is that the assets that we use in transportation last a long time. Right. So people don't throw away their car every 6 months like they might do their phone, or they used to. And so how do we roll out this technology in a way that allows those assets that are currently out there to continue to be used and the value to be taken from them, and at the same time bring in the new elements that will allow us to have a safer riding conditions such that the number of deaths goes down and the amount of efficiency in the system goes up, because I think we can all agree today that it's a very inefficient way that we run our transportation network.
But that's how, like you said, most industries start at the nascent stages, and then it takes a long time to reach to the level of mass adoption. But you work for JetBlue Ventures.
Yes.
How does the safety of transportation and the application of these new tools apply to what you are looking at for?
Yeah, so we look at it in two ways. So the first way is that we think about journeys as being seamless. So today, if you were to take a JetBlue flight, you don't just get on the flight outside your door. You have to get to the airport, you have to pass through security, and at the other end, you do the similar process. So the first thing that we're interested in is how do we knit together the different modes of transportation, and this primarily means exchanging data, such that we can understand where you are. So a good example would be if you were going to San Francisco International Airport on your way to New York on JetBlue Flight 16. So what time should you leave the house? Now, nowadays, we can give you a good estimation of when you should actually do that. What I would like to be able to do is I'd like to have an autonomous vehicle come to your door when you want it and take you to your flight. That vehicle could tell the airport and JetBlue that you're on your way. So we know that you're going to make the flight or you're not going to make the flight. Once we know that, we can also check you in. Why not? We have sensors in the vehicle, we can scan your face, we can scan your passport, and we can tell you that you're checked in, you're ready to go, we can do your seat assignment, we can buy goods and services for you in the car so that it's waiting for you when you arrive at the airport. Frankly, I can roll you up to the plane and get you into the plane in the order of the row that you're sitting in. Now, that experience as a customer is incredible.
Absolutely.
And compare that to what we have today. So that's our first interest, is in how these things work as a whole. The second interest is that if you look at the way that autonomous vehicles have developed, they primarily have first developed in the air. So the concept of the autopilot, which is used by Tesla and others, this comes from the air. Right. So we have this already. What we now need to be able to do is to improve it. So today, the average airliner produces terabytes of data from every flight. We need to be able to analyze that data and understand how to improve the efficiency of the overall system. Because today in the US in particular, we are not efficient in the way that we use our resources in order to get from A to B. So that's our interest. The seamless journey, but also the efficiency that combined will give us the opportunity to move people wherever they need to be.
So to take the technology and give this seamless and beautiful experience to your customers, it requires a lot of innovation at the entrepreneurial level.
Yes.
And you have to go and look for the innovation happening in different spots, including Silicon Valley.
Absolutely.
So what is your methodology in finding that out?
So we're a little bit lucky, a little bit privileged in the sense that there are very few people in the aviation space that are doing what we're doing around venturing. So we do get a lot of people coming to us. But to be honest, it's our role to go out there and network and to find these things. So we do that partly through universities. There's a lot of great talent around Silicon Valley and other universities where people are working on very complex problems. We do that also by looking at people that we've worked with in the past and seeing their evolution of where they're going. I would say that our sourcing is never perfect. So we will always miss opportunities. There will always be that company in a far off place that we've never heard of. But in general, the goal for us is to be very visible in the community so people understand what we're looking for and can approach us, to be very welcoming such that people want to work with us, and ultimately to help those companies in the best way which we can, which is not actually just the money. The best way we can help people is by giving them use cases, customers that they can actually take advantage of and ultimately generate the revenues that will sustain the business.
Like you said, exciting times for exciting technologies. It's wonderful to have you here.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have met you. Thank you, Mateen.